Welcome back to another edition of the Burnout with George Truly. We got one tribute. We got another tribute I want to do. But before I get into this one, I want to do the quote of the day. And it says, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. You know, we sometimes think that we can't make a change, but we try to start where we started from. No, you can't change that, but you can start and reset. You cannot go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you're at and change the ending. So it's never too late to change. The person I'm going to talk about today is Chris Knight. Born August 6, 1979, passed away March 4th, 2022. I don't need a lot of information to talk about this man. I knew him all my life. He impacted on me a lot more than most people may think. I was the oldest one. He was right underneath me. But see, Chris was different. Chris was always the one that wanted to bring peace to an argument. See, me, I was the one that I didn't care about I didn't care about peace. I was the one that had the fiery temper. I was the one that, when the argument started, let's ride with this. But he never wanted to argue. He's always the peaceful one. He always the one that wanted to calm everybody down. See, I wasn't stunned calming everybody down. I wanted to go left field. I was the loose cannon. I was the one that didn't take a whole lot. And he showed patience a lot of times by not, when somebody did something to him, he wouldn't necessarily get back with them. Me, on the other hand, I wanted revenge. I was just that petty, but he wasn't. He was always tolerant. He was always the one that dealt and put up with a lot of stuff. And I always asked him, man, why you put up with this mess? And his response were, I ain't gonna worry about it. They'll get what they got coming. See, I never was patient enough to say that. But I'm like, you do something to me, I'm gonna get you back now. But he wasn't. There's so many memories I got of Chris. It's ridiculous. I know my mom misses him dearly. The impact that he had on her, because she seen him every day. He was around. She was around every day. So I know the pain that she had to go through, because I knew the pain I was going through, and she knew him better than anybody. So of course, her pain would be way more significant than mine. But I always wondered, I said, if I feel this hurt, what is she going through? The strength that she has to do to keep going when you lose one of your kids, and that's not something that most parents are prepared for. But she always, sometimes you can say people don't let nothing bother them. And sometimes it seems like they don't. But you can see it in a person that that impact was way, way worse than it seemed. And, it's just to the point that she just kept going. I couldn't understand it. I didn't know the strength. I don't have that strength that she had. She's got this big blanket in a room with his face on it. And I told her, I don't know if I could deal with that. That would tear me to pieces. But to her, that's comforting. I've heard multiple people tell me that it's comforting. And you just gotta imagine that that's just something that no parent is prepared to do. No parent is prepared to bury their own child. But, you know, me and Chris had our arguments. We had our disagreements. We fuss like big boys. We fuss constantly. But at the end of the day, we always ironed it out, and we never missed talking. I can go back in the younger days. We used to play basketball outside the house, and I'll be tearing him up. He'll go in there, Mama, Anthony cheating. Oh, he's doing this, he's doing that. And she would just laugh, and she would be sitting there watching us out there playing. And he would do it every time. And we play video games a lot too. And I'll be tearing him up on video games. I'm talking about I'll be tearing him up. He'll get mad, Mama, Anthony cheating on the game. And Mama would be just like, well, just put the game down. You can't beat him. But he would never do that. We used to play that Nintendo game for hours on hours. And we'll play it until we beat it. That's just how it went. We would be on teams sometimes. And it was just camaraderie at its best. And even when we got older, the camaraderie was still there. We still talked almost every day. That is the biggest pill I've had to swallow. Burying your younger brother. That's the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. And I don't have to deal with a lot of difficult stuff in my 50 years. But I can sit back now and say there's no obstacle tougher than that one for me. You know, you go from talking to a person every day to knowing you can't talk to them now. That's the worst part. We used to go out in front yard, put radios and speakers in the car. Me and him worked at Walmart together. He covered me a lot of times. I was in the bathroom asleep, and he would come in there, hey man, they looking for you. He knew exactly where I was at. Those are the things that you don't forget. You don't forget the disagreements. You don't forget the arguments, but you don't highlight them because you highlight all the good things that came out of it. Me and him, we got to fight one time. Now that was 30, 40 years ago when we got in that fight. It wasn't really a fight. I just pushed him into the dirty clothes, and that was it. Then he told Mama I beat him up, and I got in trouble for that. So yeah, that's just how a big brother always gonna get the heat for it. The little weasel always get out of it. But that's so many. Like I said, there's so many memories, the fond memories I remember of, like I say, playing basketball every day on the weekend, rode the school bus together, played video games, watched Transformers on Saturday together. We had a good relationship, and as we got older, we never got away from the conversations. I just didn't see him every day, but I usually talked to him at least once a day. But I think the person who's impacted the worst was Mama, Chris, Annie Knight, because like I say, she was around him all the time. And you go from being around a person that long and then not seeing them at all. That's impactful. Like I said, no parent is ever expected to bury their own kids. That's something that you never prepare for. That's something that you never anticipate on. That's something that you don't want no part of. So it was hard, and to this day it's still hard. Because I always say, time does not heal wounds. Time helps you deal with it. And he's always gonna be on everybody's mind that he didn't count it. I've talked to some friends of his, and you can tell by the conversation that they've been very impacted by his loss. You just can't. I knew him all my life. You don't forget no details about it, what you've been through with any brother or sister. And I think my oldest sister up there in Montgomery, when he was in nursing home or rehab center, that's what they want to call that trash they got up there. She seen him, she encountered him, she had more encounters with him than I did because she was up there. So I know the impact, really hit her pretty hard because she was there. But I don't care how hard anything hits me, my sisters, my brothers. Nobody's gonna be more impacted than the parent. The parent is gonna be impacted more than anybody. Because as I can say, I know them all my life, but my mom knew him all her life, period. She knew him better than I could ever know him. And that's something that you can't forget. You're not going to forget it, to be honest with you. So I always think about the stuff that we did. We put rims on cars. We did so much stuff. And we spent so much money. When he wanted to do something, he'll tell mama that I paid this much for it and he paid less to make it look like he got a better deal, made me look bad. But that's just how it was. That really didn't bother me. Because that's just his way of wanting to do something and try to ease the way of getting it done. But I never expected to bury any of my younger siblings. Just like my mama never expected to bury any of her kids. But unfortunately, that's the circumstances that a lot of parents fall under. And it's circumstances that somebody has to do it. And you might not always be prepared for it, but you have to show strength because everybody around you needs to be uplifted, and sometimes you have to put yourself to the side. And a lot of times that's what she did. But we never forget him. His easygoing attitude, his laid-back mentality, the way he handled situations that I would have blew a gasket on, the way he always wanted to be a peacemaker when I wanted to be a troublemaker. That's something that, like I said, that's something that is in you. That's something that you have or you don't. He had it. He had the patience. It's hard to describe. Sometimes it's hard to describe, and sometimes you can't describe it. But that's how life goes sometimes. But we'll never forget him. He's always remembered, and in all of our hearts, minds, and souls. So we'll never forget him. From this day forth, he's always somewhere involved in our memories. And we're gonna just say, I have to take my hat off to my mom that she had enough strength to deal with it, even though I know it was tearing her apart, but she still dealt with it, just like we all had to. So we're gonna just always remember him, and every chance I get, I'm going to uplift him, and let him know that we have not forgotten and we never will forget. That's all the time we have today on the Burnout. I give you the 2 fingers, and I say, always flame up, never burn out.